Welcome to today's Q&A. I am super pumped to answer your Q&A questions. We are live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on IG. So, hey family, how are y'all? I hope you are having the most amazing day. And today we're going to be talking about scaling up, right? Making the leap from middle management to leadership. So hello. If you are catching me live, comment where you are watching from. If this is your first time, drop a 1 in the chat and tell me where you are watching from. If this is not your first time, if you are not new to this, but you are true to this, please comment too and tell me where you are watching from. Again, if you lose me here, we are live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And today I want to answer just a couple questions that have been showing up in my DMs, in my comments, and also recently on one of the posts that I shared. And really, the question is surrounding going from middle management to like more of an executive role. And what are the things that I should be paying attention to? Hey, Chicago. Hey, Maryland. Hey, Germantown. Let's see who else is in the building. Boston is in the house. Southern Cali is nice. Let's see. Florida is in the building with an interview today. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead. So excited for you. But there are a couple things that I want you to pay attention to. Hey, New Jersey. Hey, República Dominicana is in the house. What's going on, DR? Michigan is in the building. But I want to share a couple of things with y'all because there have been a few questions about making the leap and what to expect. Some of you are just like very apprehensive on making a leap. And some of y'all are like, I've been doing this for a while and I am ready. Okay, so if you are a note taker, if this is your first time, I'm going to encourage you to have something to take notes with because I'm about to drop some stuff. Hey, UK, I'm going to drop some things that are going to be just very important for you to pay attention to. And I speak in frameworks and in frameworks and in small sound bites so that they're easier to remember. Okay. And I'm also going to be addressing just again some of the questions that you have sent to me. Now, if you have a question and you want me to answer your question, if you're watching me on IG, I want you to drop your question in the question bubble. And if we have enough time, I will take somebody on live and interview you in real time to see how you do and give you some feedback. But let me get through these things. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Okay, tag somebody. And I'm aiming for about 25 minutes and then we'll answer your questions. Okay. So the first thing that I want to address is for those of you who are looking to make the leap, you're looking to go from middle management to an executive role. The first thing that I need you to pay attention to is that you need to have a mindset shift. Okay. You need to have a mindset shift that you are already that leader. Titles don't make people. Okay. You are already that leader. So you need to have a mindset shift and you have to be willing to put yourself in the position of said leader. So it's almost like you want to see that future self of you leading now. Okay. When you are looking to make that leap, there's a couple things that we are paying attention to, especially if you're going to an executive role. There's a couple things that we are going to be paying attention to when we are looking for someone to go from middle management to an executive role. Number one is, can you think in big picture? Number one is, can you think in big picture? You have to be able to cast vision and you have to be able to build trust. So vision and trust go hand in hand. And if you're not able to do those things, then that's a muscle that you need to start flexing now in efforts for you to be able to grow and in efforts to be able to position yourself as said leader. So number one, you need to be able to cast vision and build trust. If people are going to be following your lead, they need to be able to trust you. And if they're not able to trust you, then my love, you are taking a walk. Nobody's following. Okay. So you need to be able to build trust and you need to be able to cast vision. The other thing that I need you to pay attention to, and I see this a lot with some of the questions that come in to my DMs, right? So some of you have like questions that you want to ask me. And sometimes, and I say this with as much love in my heart as possible, sometimes when you are reaching out to me and you're sending me some of your questions in DM, I have to respond to you like, what is your question? Because you've given me like 2 or 3 text messages full of information, but there is no question there. So I can't respond if I don't know what your question is. So you want to be able to ask the right question. If you are taking notes, I'm about to drop a major gem on you. So you're going to want to write this down. And if you catch this on the replay, I want you to come back, tell me replay, got it. Okay. One of the things that we as executive leaders that we pay attention to is we're thinking constantly, whether you believe it or not, we're thinking constantly of how is this going to affect the bottom line? Okay. How is this going to impact the bottom line? How are the moves that I am making going to drive or move the needle forward? How is this going to help? Right. So the first point that I told you was that you need to be able to build trust and cast vision. And the second thing that you need to be able to do is bluff. Okay. BLUF. And that is an acronym. I told you I speak in frameworks and I speak in acronyms. But bluff stands for bottom line up front. If ever you are going to be giving a presentation, if ever you're going to be dealing with an executive leader, if ever you want to get to that point, you need to be able to flex the muscle of bluffing, and not bluffing lying, but being able to speak to the bottom line up front. Because here's the truth. When you are dealing with an executive leader, there's a multitude of things that are happening. We either have our computer and our email up, or we're preparing some type of report, or we're looking at some information. There is a stream, there's likely a phone somewhere nearby where a phone call could come in, or there's someone standing outside of our office that is looking for our attention. If you are not able to speak in that type of way where you're impact, like what is the question surrounding the bottom line up front, we can get easily distracted. So you have to be able to think through what is the major point that I need to make to these individuals, or I need to connect with this individual up front and then lead from there. Because if you're doing a lot of like pre-talking and warming people up, and like, honey, we've already moved on to like point number 90. And you're not even like on our radar anymore. So when you are trying to communicate, when you are trying to level up, learn the art of being able to bring up the bottom line up front. Start with that and then devise your plan backward. Okay. If you're not able to do that, then you're likely going to lose our attention at some point. And then what happens is that you get upset. You get mad because it feels like they're not listening to you, because it feels like they're not paying attention to you, or you have some people who are looking at you, but they're looking past you. Has that ever happened to anybody? Has that ever happened to anyone where you have like you're standing in front of a person, you're talking to them, and it feels like they're looking past you, like they're not even on the same playing field where you're at? You need to be able to catch their attention with the bottom line and then work from there. Okay. So if you got it, I want you to type got it. If you got it, I want you to type got it. Hello, Phoenix, Arizona on YouTube land. Hey, friend, how are you? So if you're watching me and you got it, I want you to type got it. Okay. Type got it and tell me you got it in the chat. So the first thing I told you that you need to do is you need to be able to cast vision and build trust. That's point number 1. And point number 2 is being able to lead with the bottom line up front, especially in today's market. Especially in today's market, because you want to be able to establish yourself as a need to have and not just the nice to have. In this type of market, y'all, companies are constantly looking at their bottom line and they're assessing people based on nice to have or need to have. When the purse strings get tight, you need to know where you fall. Are you a nice to have or you a need to have? Okay. And the last point that I want to share with y'all surrounding just kind of thinking like an executive, if that's where you're going to go, is make sure that you take notes. And not just like notes in meetings, not just like notes when you meet someone, not just notes in meeting and like in very superficial notes. Make sure that your note taking is top tier. The reason that I tell you note taking is top tier is because as executives, there's a lot of things that are coming through our plates, and we have to be able to have a resource for us to go back to. So if you're not in the habit of taking notes or being able to like articulate what you are doing and how you are doing it and who you are working with and how you've been visible and what has been the outcome, that's going to become really challenging for you. Because again, as an executive, when you are called to a carpet, like for example, in our agency, I have a board of directors. So when they start asking me questions surrounding how many people did you work with? What was the outcome for your clients? How much traffic have we gotten to the website? Who are you connecting with daily? Like I need to be able to provide that information and not just like, oh, well, today was a rough day and I didn't have the opportunity to do so. What? Okay, so everybody has a rough day. Somebody make it make sense. If you are going to lead, you need to be able to have those types of notes. Here's another reason why you need to be able to have notes, especially because of everything that has been happening as it surrounds layoffs. And I know that many of you are dealing with, have been victims of, or have encountered someone who has dealt with a layoff. But one of the most recent layoffs that I was reading upon not just too long ago was the layoffs that happened at Meta. And I was talking about this with one of my colleagues. And one of the things that we have been hearing is that they laid people off based off of poor performance. They laid people off based off of poor performance. Well, here's the interesting part. They had not had performance evaluations in over a year. So how are you going to lay me off based off of poor performance if you have not had an evaluation in over a year? You need to be taking notes. Because now, if these employees wanted to go up against the company and go to court, there is no documentation to prove either their point or yours. And many of you, by the time you get on a consultation call with myself or any of our team members, most of you fall into this category. You're doing the work of 2 or 3 people. You have been at the organization at least a minimum of 5 years. You've asked for a raise and they dangle the carrot in front of you. Oh, if you just keep doing this, give me 6 months. 6 months comes, they move the target. Give me another 6 months. Another 6 months come and they move the target again. Give me another 6 months. Another 6 months comes and they move the target again. Meanwhile, when they have been doing reviews, you meet or exceed expectations. If that's been you, I want you to type me in the chat. If that's been you, I want you to type me in the chat. Because if that is happening to you, you need to be taking notes. You need to be aware of what you are doing and how you are doing that. And by the time y'all get to us, by the time y'all get to like work with me on your resume, or I'm coaching you through interviewing skills, or I'm helping you source for new opportunities, the first question I'm asking you is tell me about yourself and some of your accomplishments. And some of y'all have a really hard time being able to articulate that. And no shade, because many of us have not been taught how to think that way. Okay, so you need to be able to start taking notes. If you have not had a performance review, don't be afraid to ask for one. You need to have that type of information, because how is it that you're going to let me go for poor performance and I don't even know how I'm performing badly? Somebody make it make sense. Okay, so I need you not to be afraid of asking for those types of things. You need to be able to speak to your value. You need to be able to articulate your value, but you also need to be able to document how much you have grown. Because again, here's another one. Here's another one. You have more degrees than a thermometer. Just a whole lot of education. And you can't understand why you have all this education, but you're not making moves the way that you should. Anybody been there? I remember a season in my life where I had my master's degree. I had just gotten my master's degree and I thought I was too hot to try. Okay. I thought, listen, once they see my master's degree, it's going to be so good and they're going to hire me. Like everybody is going to want to come and talk to me. And crickets when I started to apply. There was nobody lining up. Nobody was coming. I had all of the things, okay? But I did not know how to leverage my network. I did not know that not only was it a requirement to have the degree that I had, but I also did not know how to articulate my value. So here I was applying to positions that were requiring a master's degree, looking at the job description. I'm like, oh yeah, I could do some of that stuff. I've been doing it already, but I didn't know how to articulate that. And so the reason that I share all of that is because when you are coming from a middle management role to now an executive level role, you need to be able to not only articulate your value, but articulate the value of the people that you are now leading. The reason so many of y'all want me to do topics on toxic bosses, on drama in the workplace, and all that other jazz, while I can, before I can speak to that, because what we're not going to do, and I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, okay? And for some of y'all, I'm going to hold your hand with a napkin in between, because some of y'all are not nice. That's a whole nother thing. But anyway, I'm going to hold your hand while I say this. What we are not going to do is spend time giving energy and our cognitive ability to toxicity. I'm going to say that again. What we are not going to do is spend time giving energy and our cognitive ability to feed into toxicity. So yes, you have a toxic boss. Yes, you've been dealing with a difficult work employee. Yes, you've been doing all of those things. But what you think about, you create more of. What you think about, you bring about is one of the things that I tell my clients. What you think about, you bring about. So if we spend most of our time focusing on how terrible this individual is and how toxic this person is and how, then that's what we're going to create more of. The reason why I don't give that topic so much light is because I want to equip you so you can get out of there. Okay? So if that makes sense, I want you to say, okay. Because the reason why we have so many toxic people in the workplace is because they themselves have not been developed well. And so instead of being able to lead with an open hand, they lead with a closed fist. Because they let their fear of losing control dominate how to maximize your potential. And the last time I checked, I do not want to be under that type of leadership or that type of management. True leaders who care about their people, who want to see their people grow, will lead with an open hand. And the reason that I say this is because when you are able to lead with an open hand, you have your people here. Your department is here. Notice how your hand is still open. I am putting the weight of my hand. The weight of this hand is on this one. But if I am to move this open hand, my entire hand goes down. But true leaders know how to create environments where their people choose to stay. Notice how you can leave at any point. My hand is still open. But you are choosing to stay because I've been intentional about creating an environment where you can thrive. This is what true leadership looks like. But managers that lead from a place of fear, manipulation, gaslighting, toxicity, they lead like this with a closed fist. And their people are somewhere in between these locked fingers. And guess what their people are trying to do? Because I see them. Y'all are making consultations with me and my team. I see them. They're trying to get out by any means necessary. And you know what is happening? While here, not only is the team suffering, the individual who's leading with this closed fist is also suffering. Because once I open my hand, I'm going to show you what happens. People who lead with this kind of mentality, they damage their team, but they also damage themselves because they're holding on so tight. It's easier for me to keep this information to myself. It's easier for me to manipulate people. Nobody's going to harm me the same way. Look, some of y'all are so true, very true, because you've encountered it. But they're hurting themselves as well. Look at my hand. Can you all see? I have like my nail prints inside of my hand. Can y'all see that? Because I'm holding on so tight. And one of the things that I've learned so much in leadership, like outside of like just like how to support people, how to help them grow, like all of those things. One of the things that I've learned so much is that it's really not about me. It never has been. It really isn't. It's not about me. It's being the leader that is able to see the potential in your team and help them draw that out. Here's another thing that I used to say to my team all the time. I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. So while I can see potential in you as a leader, you have to want it just as bad as I want it for you. I can't tell you how many times people will be like, Susana, would you be a reference for me? Can I put you as a reference? And listen, you asking me to be a reference, I need to be able to stand behind your work and your ability. Like, let me get back to you on that. Because what we're not going to do is, like, you have to also be aware, y'all, that while the industry might be big, the circles are small. So if you messy in this one area, it might just show up in another. So this is why you have to be very mindful of being able to articulate your value, making sure that you are keeping receipts. That's what taking notes is all about. Being able to lead with the bottom line up front, and being able to lead with an open hand. Pour into people, because guess what? Happy people do happy work. Happy people produce great work. I wish more organizations would pay attention to that. Because the more that you pour into people, the more that you create environments for them to grow, the more that you are helping them to achieve and tap into that potential, the higher the chances that the work that you're asking them to do will get done. The other thing that I see with some leaders when I'm working with them is, listen, there's a bunch of ways that you can get to the number 4. 2 + 2 is 4. 1 + 3 is 4. 6 - 2 is 4. The idea is to get to 4. How you get there, I don't care, as long as it's legal. Let's make sure that we get to 4. Okay. So I wanted to share those things with y'all because, again, these are things that are showing up in my DMs. These are things that are showing up in my conversations with coaching clients. Like, these are things that are showing up. And the other aspect is too, you don't have something ready and available when a opportunity presents itself. So when an opportunity presents itself, I can't tell you how many people email us or send me a message like, Susana, I have an interview tomorrow. Can you coach me today? I'm sorry. What? The interview is tomorrow and you expect to do a crime coaching today? I'm not the coach for you. I promise you I'm not. I'm not the coach for you. You know why I'm not the coach for you? Because you're going to spend your precious time and mine attempting to cram in less than 24 hours so that you can do well during an interview. You know what's going to happen? You're not going to remember anything of what I shared. You're not going to remember anything of what I shared. Or if you do try to remember it, it's all going to be jumbled in your brain. And then you freak out during the interview. I don't want that for you. And I sure as ever am not going to take your hard-earned money. Okay? Let's be so for real. I am sure not going to take your money for a consultation, for then you not to do well, for then you to come back to me and be like, you don't know what you're talking about. It didn't work. Sir, ma'am, with all due respect, you didn't set yourself up for success. So don't wait until an opportunity is coming up. Make sure that you are ready. Like, y'all should be having conversations with people day in and day out. It's one of the things that we as execs, we're constantly doing. We're constantly having new conversations with people. Maybe not every day, but you can be sure at least once a week. Why do you think executives go to conferences? Yes, it's for learning, but it's also for networking. And some of y'all are still wanting to go into those roles and wanting to grow, but you're not acting that way. And so before you can live that out, you have to start acting that way now. Okay? All right. So here's the thing. We're going to go into questions. I'm going to recap the 3 things that I shared with y'all because I feel like this was a good one. Here's the 3 things that I shared with y'all. First, as an executive leader, you need to build trust and you need to be able to cast vision. Okay. And I wish I had more time because I would do a whole vision exercise with y'all, but I don't have enough time. You need to be able to build trust and you need to cast vision. You need to be able to take notes, and not just superficial notes, detailed notes that help you to articulate your value. Okay. And the third thing is that you need to be able to lead with the bottom line up front. That's what I talked about, bluffing. That's what bluff stands for. Bottom line up front. Someday I will write a book with all of these frameworks for y'all. So like that, if you can't coach with me, you at least have a document that you can refer back to. Because if I ever write a book, y'all, I want it to be like a manual that you can use time and time again. Like you can share it with your children, because these are not just like nice right now. These are things that will help you to grow throughout your career. I would be remiss not to tell you that we have a resume bootcamp that is coming up in April. Now, we had one in March, and a lot of y'all were like, Susana, I missed it. I like, what happened? How do I get there? If you're watching me on IG, okay? So LinkedIn and YouTube family, I will drop the link for y'all. But if you are watching me on IG and you comment the word learn, LEARN, Susana the bot will send you the information for you to be able to register. Okay? Learn, LEARN, and Susana the bot will send you the information for you to be able to register. Okay? So let me just put this here so that y'all have it, so that Susana the bot can send it to you. If you do not receive it, please let me know. Okay, let's see. All right, for those of you who are commenting learn on IG, please tell me whether or not Susana the bot sent you the information. For those of you who are on LinkedIn and YouTube, I'm going to drop the link for you right now. If I know how to spell. At some point, when I grow up, when I get older, I will be able to multitask. But right now, I gotta talk to you, I gotta type it, and then I gotta keep going. All right. So if you comment the word learn, Susana the bot will send you the information on IG, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. If you go to dunamiscareercoaching.com, you will get the link. I'm not sure why it's not showing up for y'all, but let me see if I can. Okay, so I put it on the screen on YouTube. LinkedIn family, I will drop this link for you. So if you can just send me a message, a private message on LinkedIn, I will send you the link for you to be able to join us. I actually, if you're in LinkedIn, I would much rather you do it that way, like that nobody's in your business. Okay, I got you. All right. So if you're on IG, comment the word learn. Susana the bot will send you the information. If you're on YouTube, I just put the link up on the screen so that you can access it. And on LinkedIn, if you send me a private message, I will send it to you. All right. So let's get into your questions. We got about 10 minutes for questions. If this was helpful for you today, I want you to drop helpful. If this was helpful for you today, I want you to drop helpful in the chat. Let me know that this was helpful to you, because here's the thing. I want you to be able to win in 2025. For as challenging as things look, and for as challenging as things have been in the marketplace, especially in the US, baby, there is still hope for us, and you can still grow. Do not believe the lie that it is impossible. Okay. All right. So this has been helpful to you. All right. Let's take some of your questions. First question that I got is, will there be other boot camps, masterclasses provided in the future? Would love to see a series of events for some of us who cannot make it to your expos in the US, or have I already missed it? Okay. So for the individual who just asked this question, there is another boot camp. It's happening April 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, it's going to be virtual. Once you register for the event, you will get the workbook to follow along with the teaching. You'll get a template, a resume template that will help you, that you can leverage right away. And you'll also get the recording after the boot camp. You'll have it for up to 24 hours. So yes, there will be another resume boot camp. It's happening April 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And man, oh man, I can't wait to see y'all there. All right, next question is, I wanted to get some tips on how to interview with a round table of managers. Ooh, this is so good. Okay. So panel interviews, believe it or not, is one of my favorite things. And I know that as I say that, some of y'all are like, Susana, what do you mean panel interviews are your favorite thing? I know panel interviews scare y'all, okay? But the reason that I am enjoying panel interviews as of late is because it allows me to look at people's body language. And so that gives me cues into how I am doing and also how my responses are landing with the panel. Okay. For the person who commented that they don't have premium on LinkedIn and you can't message me, just send me a connection request, my love. And on your connection request, you should be able to send me a message and I'll be able to connect with you. For those of you who are asking on IG, what's my LinkedIn? It's my name. It's Susana Briscoe-Alba on LinkedIn. Come hang out with me. Come be a friend. Okay. So for those of you who are doing panel interviews, this is what this is a panel interview. There's a couple things that I need you to pay attention to. Number one, panel interviews likely are a series of questions that everyone on the panel has, or there's a commonality to the questions that they're asking. Any questions that you are going to be on a panel with a table of managers, because that's what this person said. It's a table of managers. Please pay attention to the questions that they're asking you because they're going to be asking you questions specifically around your ability to get work done. So at the top of the call, I told you to pay attention to your ability to articulate your value. If you're going to be meeting with managers, this is one of those examples where you lead with the bottom line up front. What has been your impact? How did you come about producing such impact? And how can you continue to implement that growth? That is what managers want to know. Okay. At the end of the day, we're trying to assess, are you, number one, a good candidate? And two, can you get the work done? So speak to your previous experiences from that viewpoint. Okay. Bottom line up front, what has been your impact, how you have been able to address or make such impact, and can you replicate that going forward? Okay. All right. Next question that I got is, all right. Y'all see what I mean? Some of y'all give me questions, but like they're bottom line up front. All right. Let's see. I'm happy at my current company. I'm happy at my company. The culture is very chill. We are independent, but we also collab. The workload though, and the complexity of the task. I want to ask for a raise since I found something easier that pays and offers remote work. How can I do that? I'm going to assume that this individual is asking how to be able to ask for a raise at the current place that you're employed. Let's create a baseline, first of all. When you are working at an organization, if you are in the United States, because that's where I'm at, so I'm going to be speaking from a US perspective. Typically, what I see in the United States is that you can expect to see an increase of 3 to 5% when you go to ask for a raise. Now, 3 to 5% doesn't sound like very much. So if that is not something that you are comfortable with, the next best way for you to be able to secure a higher raise is to be able to have an offer in hand and just be kind about that. So let's assume that you found this role and you applied for it. You're very happy at where you're at, which is something that you say, I would share that. Like, listen, I'm not looking to leave, but I came across this opportunity that was too good to pass up. They've made me an offer. I'd like to stay here. Can you meet this offer? Okay. If they say no, then you have now an option. You can either choose to stay there or you can pursue the other offer. But at least you have some kind of documentation, something in hand to be able to start to facilitate that type of question. Because here's the thing that I find with some employees is that you go to make the request for the raise and you assume that just because you've been there for a long time and that you're cool and you do what you do, they'll automatically notice your work. That does not necessarily always translate that same way that you want it to. So if you are looking to ask for a raise at your current place of employment, the best way that I would encourage you to do that is to have an offer in hand and then have a true and honest conversation with whoever your manager or leadership team is. Is that scary for some of you? Absolutely. Is it worth doing? 1000%. Okay. Please do not let fear stop you from asking. Woo, child, I did that way too long in my career because I was afraid of what people would think. I was afraid of what they would say. I was afraid that they would think I wasn't grateful. I was afraid that I was going to be bothering people. Guess what, baby? Ain't nobody coming to save you. And I say that with as much love in my heart. So if you're looking to ask for something like that, then please make sure that you have either you're okay with 3 to 5% of an increase or you have another offer in hand. Okay. All right, good question. All right, last question is how do I relax in an interview? How do I relax in an interview to articulate what I can offer the company and why I'm the best candidate for the position? Okay, so if you have an interview coming up, one of the things that I'm going to encourage you to do is to look at your career history, your work history, and be able to identify what have been at least 3 of your major milestones. What have been 3 of your major milestones? Because once you're able to identify that, then when you get questions like, can you tell me about yourself? Or any of the, can you tell me about a time when, you at least have a career narrative that you can draw from. So if you are going into an interview and you have not thought through what are some of the things that I have done really well over my career and how can I and how did I go about doing those? If you are going into an interview and you have not asked yourself those questions, then you are ill prepared for the interview. Because whether it's a screening interview or whether it's an interview with managers or the hiring manager, you need to be able to speak to that. And the only way that you can relax is when you have that type of information ready to go. So how have you positioned yourself to win in this type of scenario? What have been some of your milestones? What have been some of your challenges? Be honest about those. And when we're talking about challenges, y'all, like we're talking about challenges that are related to the work history, not always the challenge that you've had with other people. Oh, one of the challenges that I had was that I had to work with, I don't know, Dale from marketing, and he's super toxic and a very difficult type of person. Oh, okay. How does that help that how does that information help me make a decision here and now? Because Dale is not the person that I'm interviewing. I'm interviewing you. So you can tell me about that, but right now you're putting Dale, whoever Dale is, and if there's anybody who's watching and your name is Dale, I'm sorry. But you're telling me all about Dale and how toxic and how difficult he was, but you're not telling me about how you were able to make strides despite dealing with such toxicity and difficulty. Okay? So if that makes sense, I want you to type "makes sense." Because I've seen that a lot too on interviews where we ask you, can you tell me about a challenging time? And so you tell me about the challenging time, but there's no feedback as to how did you overcome the challenge? What did you do differently? Those are the type of skills that I'm looking for someone to be able to deploy in this new role. But if all you're telling me is, oh, this person was really difficult and they made my life a living hell. Okay. I'm so sorry to hear that. And guess what? As the interviewer, it's not my responsibility to pull that information out of you. So you know what Susana, the interviewer, would tell you? I am so sorry that happened to you. Let me ask you my next question. And you know what that has already done for me? I've already made a decision. And I'm being so honest with you right now. As a hiring manager, I'm being so honest with you right now. If what you've told me is how difficult this person was and you didn't give me any context, or if you are telling me, I'm asking you about what was one of the questions that I ask is, how do you prioritize your time when everything seems important? Especially if you're going to be a leader. That's a question that I ask. How do you prioritize your time when everything seems important? And most candidates are like, you gonna tell me? Like those are the types of things that you need to be able to be ready for. And even better, if you can provide an example. So this is why I'm telling you, be willing to have a career narrative so like that you can share from that perspective. So I hope that her name is Bay. I hope that answered your question. Okay. So thank you guys. Thank you for rocking with me for these last. Yeah, some people are like, I don't know how to answer that question. And for some of my fellow hiring managers, some of y'all are like, ooh, that's a good one. But listen, be ready to ask some of those questions. Be ready to ask some of those questions, but also be ready to answer some of those questions. Okay. And leverage free tools that you have. ChatGPT is free 99. Working with Susana is not free 99. So you want to be able to leverage that. Let's see. Hey, can we celebrate? Can we celebrate our tribe, our squad members? Can we celebrate? Somebody just dropped in the comments on IG, Susana, I got a job using your techniques. Congratulations. Listen, can we drop a congratulations in the chat? That's what I'm talking about. Congratulations, friend. Congratulations. That is wonderful. Oh, that makes my heart so happy. Because here's the thing. This individual landed their role. And it's not just, you don't need more information. And I'm going to end with this. Some of y'all, you don't need more information. You need implementation. You need implementation. You don't need more information. Okay? There's a ton of information on my page. Tons of information. But what you need to do is you need to be able to implement. And they start tomorrow. Listen, congratulations. One of my clients also starts her new role today. 6-figure winner. Yes, I'm so proud of her. So congratulations. Today is a good day. Today is a good day. So congratulations, my love. I know and pray and hope that you are going to do amazing things in this new role. So congratulations to you. Oh, I'm so excited. I love it. I love to see it. See, y'all, confirmation is in the chat for y'all. So if you've not registered for the upcoming Resume Bootcamp, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Obviously, what we teach works. So comment, learn if you're on IG, so like that you can join us. On YouTube, you should see the website link, so like that you can go right there and register for it. And if you're watching me on LinkedIn, send me a connection request, and in the connection request, you should be able to send a message and just let me know that you're interested in joining the upcoming bootcamp in April, and I will send you the links for registration. Thank you for rocking with your girl. I hope and pray that you have the most amazing rest of your week. I hope that this information was helpful to you. And again, I don't want you to just receive the information. I want you to implement what you have learned. The purpose of receiving information without implementation is going to lead to your stagnation. Ooh, that was a bar. I'm going to drop that again. Information without implementation will lead to your stagnation. So make sure that what you've gathered today doesn't just stay here, but that you actually apply it. Because the next time that I go live, it could be you that's telling me that you have landed a new role using what you have learned from this space. Okay. So I love y'all. I hope you have the most amazing rest of your week. Again, thank you for rocking with me, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody. See y'all later.